The day following her 13th birthday party, Madeline Soto vanished without a trace. The Orange County Sheriff's Office in Florida was thrust into action, relying on the only lead they had, the account provided by her mother, Jennifer Soto. Jennifer, alongside her partner, Stephen Stearns, began to reach out to those who had been part of Madeline's life. They aimed to retrace the young girl's final moments, only to uncover shocking and disturbing secrets that hinted at the tragic fate awaiting Maddie. Welcome to Just Thought Lounge. I'm Kevin, your host. Today we delve into a heart-wrenching case that has garnered both national and international attention. This story is as sad as it is disturbing, and some viewers may find certain details too difficult to bear. While we won't linger on unnecessary details, I must caution that some references may be upsetting. Join me as we explore the harrowing events that unfolded on February 22, 2024. Madeline Soto had just turned 13 that weekend. She celebrated this milestone with a birthday party at a family member's home in Central Florida. Living with her mother, Jennifer, Maddie called the Venetian Bay Village complex in Kissimmee her home. Just south of Orlando, she attended Hunters Creek Middle School. Though her grades were less than stellar, her teachers described her as a sweet girl, albeit easily distracted. Madeline had been diagnosed with ADHD, and as she confided in her friends, the medication left her feeling exhausted, prompting her to stop taking it. As the days progressed, troubling reports emerged. Friends noted that Maddie often seemed fatigued in class, her head resting down, eyes closed. They observed her sadness, tears streaming down her face without explanation. At times, she would vent about her mother, calling Jennifer bipolar and revealing that they frequently argued. Despite her struggles, Madeline shared a close bond with her stepfather, Stephen. Friends recalled her affectionately speaking of him, often texting or FaceTiming throughout the day. At the time, it seemed like a mere detail, inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. Yet, in early 2024, a troubling desire surfaced in Maddie. She confided to her friends about wanting to run away, expressing her plans to build a house in the woods once she turned 13. She even revealed her intention to leave home on Monday, February 26th. In the early months of 2024, Madeline Soto began to voice her desire to escape the confines of her home. She confided in her friends, sharing visions of building a house deep in the woods as soon as she turned 13. Her plans were bold and clear. She intended to pack her belongings and leave on Monday, February 26th. The day after Madeline's birthday celebration, Jennifer Soto drove to Hunters Creek Middle School to pick up her daughter. As she waited among the throng of children exiting the building, an unsettling realization struck her. Madeline was not among them. Presuming that Maddie had gone to her grandmother's office, located nearby, Jennifer made her way there. It was a place Maddie had visited before, a familiar route for a girl eager to embrace the end of a school day. Madeline Soto was nowhere to be found. Concern grew as school administrators meticulously combed through attendance records, only to confirm the worst. She hadn't attended classes at all that day. Panic surged through her mother, Jennifer Soto, as she sprang into action, searching the surrounding area both by car and on foot, desperate to find her daughter. As the clock ticked past 4:30 p.m., the absence of any trace of Maddie became increasingly alarming. Two unidentified women, recognizing the distress radiating from Jennifer, called 911 from her office building, situated near the middle school. They alerted the authorities while Jen waited anxiously for the police to arrive. With no further leads and no sign of Madeline, the search felt futile. The operator on the other end of the line asked, "Are you calling on behalf of the parent?" To which one of the women replied, "Yes, I am calling on behalf of the mother." The operator sought confirmation. "Okay, I just want to confirm, was she last seen from this address before you last saw her?" The response was immediate. No. Madeline was last seen at the church next to Hunters Creek Middle School. I think it's called Peace Church, but I'm not sure of the exact address. Does she have a cell phone that she might keep on her? Jennifer's voice trembled as she explained. She doesn't have one. She had one when she left home, but conveniently, she left it today. We have a missing child since this morning, and we've already called 3 times. The operator acknowledged the urgency. I see you are just waiting for a deputy to respond. How long do we need to wait? Jennifer's anxiety peaked. It's a child missing. I understand, ma'am. The operator's voice was calm but firm. But I'm just not able to give out updates. I don't know when they'll be there. How long do we need to wait? Jennifer pressed, her voice thick with desperation. Ma'am, this is an emergency, but we are very busy in the area. I will contact you as soon as they can arrive. It wouldn't be until nearly 8 p.m. that deputies finally responded to the call-out. By that time, Jennifer was surrounded by friends and family offering their support, including her boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. He recounted the alarming turn of events. She was supposed to be dropped off at school but didn't make it. I went to pick her up from school today, and she never came out. They announced it over the speaker, and I thought maybe she walked here. Sometimes she walks to this office. I came here and found nothing. I went back to the school, but they were closed. I received an email from the school saying she was absent. Moreover, I also messaged her teacher, who reviewed her entire attendance for the day and confirmed that she was completely absent from school. According to the school, she never made it. Teachers had until 3:30 p.m. to report their students' attendance. The automated call notifying Jennifer that Madeline had not been in class wouldn't occur until 5:45 p.m. By that time, the clock had ticked on, and Madeline had been missing for nearly 8 agonizing hours. Jennifer was already in a state of panic, tirelessly walking the surrounding area, searching for any signs of Madeline while simultaneously making frantic calls to the police. "What was she last seen wearing?" the authorities asked. "She was last seen wearing a green hoodie," Jennifer responded, her memory racing. "She had on white Crocs and either blue or black pants. I think they were black shorts. Yes, black shorts." In that moment, it became clear to the police that it was Stephen who had driven Maddie to school that morning. He stepped forward to provide a detailed description of what she was wearing, his face a mask of worry. As the investigation unfolded, Jennifer Soto provided crucial details about her daughter, Madeline. She recalled that on the morning of her disappearance, Madeline was dressed in black shorts. This piece of information hinted at a brief moment shared between mother and daughter before Madeline left for school, a moment that would later raise questions. In a frantic search for clarity, Jennifer scrolled through her phone, seeking the most recent picture of Madeline taken during her birthday celebration the day before. "Okay, where's the folder?" Jennifer asked, her voice filled with urgency. "Right there. It's on the laptop," came the response. "That's fine," she acknowledged, her mind racing. Madeline had forgotten her cell phone at home, a lapse in memory that Jennifer noted was typical for her daughter. "It was a symptom of her ADHD," she explained, frustration creeping into her tone. "Does she have a phone?" someone inquired. "She does, but she left it at home today," Jennifer replied, her worry growing. "I have it," another voice chimed in. "You have it?" Jennifer echoed, a glimmer of hope mixed with anxiety. "I've already checked her messages," the voice continued. "Okay, how about does she have an Apple Watch or any other device?" Jennifer pressed on, desperation coating her words. "The only device she has with her right now is her school laptop, but the school laptop is not trackable. It will try to connect to any Wi-Fi, so if I circle here..." While the school-issued laptop was indeed trackable, it had not been powered on since the previous Sunday. Meanwhile, Stefan Stearns, Madeline's stepfather, informed the police that he had dropped her off just a block away from the school that very morning. "At roughly 8:30 or 8 o'clock a.m., when was the last time you saw her? Do you know around what time?" an officer asked, trying to establish a timeline. "Around 8:30 or 8:40 when we dropped her off," Stefan responded, his voice steady. "How tall is she?" the officer continued. 5'1", Stefan replied. Weight 110 pounds, he added, his mind racing through the details. "So, 110 or 112, does she have any markings on her? Like any scars or anything like that?" "She has a distinctive beauty mark on her face, below the nose or near the nose, right in that area," Stefan described, his words laced with concern. "It's very distinctive. You'd know it if you saw it," he insisted. As he spoke to the deputies, they began to piece together the timeline of Madeline's last known movements, each detail crucial in the unfolding mystery. Through their inquiries, the officers learned that Stefan had taken Madeline to school that morning, a task he claimed to have undertaken occasionally, yet one that was, in reality, a rarity for the self-proclaimed stepfather. Typically, Madeline was driven to school by her mother or her grandparents. Her biological father remained in contact but was not actively involved in her daily life. It was Stefan who professed to have taken on a fatherly role, claiming a deep bond with Madeline. "You know, I'm the person she goes to when her mom gets into a fight with her and she needs someone to comfort her. I'm that person for her. This girl knows nothing but love here in town," he asserted, his voice tinged with pride. According to Stefan, when he did take Madeline to school, she preferred to be dropped off a short distance from the building. This was not out of embarrassment, but rather because she found Stefan's vehicle, a silver 2010 Lincoln, unattractive. Stefan agreed to drop her off near the Peace United Methodist Church, located on Town Loop Boulevard, a short 5-minute walk from Hunter Creek Middle School. "I woke up early, he began, as the details of that fateful morning began to unravel. On that fateful morning, plans were made for a quick breakfast at McDonald's. The anticipation was palpable as they made remarkably good time on their way. However, as the investigation unfolded, it became clear that precise details were crucial. The detectives pressed for specifics, knowing that every minute counted in piecing together the timeline. Jennifer recalled waking up around 7 o'clock or 7:15 a.m., an early start for their family routine. They had discussed indulging in McDonald's breakfast, sharing a moment of normalcy before the day unfolded. By 7:30 or 7:45, they were out the door. Madeline, still caught in the web of sleep, dozed quietly in the car, blissfully unaware of the events that would soon transpire. Their drive to McDonald's was uneventful until they neared their destination. As they approached, Jennifer asked if Maddie still wanted breakfast, but the allure of McDonald's had faded for the young girl. Instead, she requested to be dropped off a bit further from the school, expressing a newfound desire for discretion. Lately, she had become particular about which car she was seen exiting at school. Maddie favored her mother's car, as if it represented a part of her identity that she wished to project. This drop-off occurred sometime between 8:20 and 8:40 a.m., a detail that would soon come under scrutiny. The drop-off took place along a stretch of road lined with communities, just before reaching an overpass. After parting ways, Jennifer watched her daughter through the rearview mirror, ensuring she was heading in the right direction. But Maddie was distracted, rummaging through her backpack, perhaps searching for her headphones. Jennifer noted that Maddie had mentioned waiting for her friends. She assured her mother that everything was fine. It was not unusual for kids to be dropped off early, even if Jennifer typically didn't do so. With a warm farewell, Jennifer encouraged Maddie to have a great day. Maddie responded with a cheerful, "Thanks, love you too," as Jennifer turned the car around, the normalcy of that moment now hauntingly distant. In her rearview mirror, Jennifer monitored Maddie's movements. She watched as her daughter continued to sift through her belongings, unaware that she had left her phone at home, a detail that would soon complicate matters. Later on, details emerged that painted a picture of the family's dynamics. Jennifer Soto informed the police that she had seen Maddie the previous night, just before bedtime, when both Maddie and Stefan had settled down together in the same room. In 2 separate conversations with deputies, Jennifer mentioned that it was common for the 3 of them to share a bed as a family. However, with her new job requiring her to be well rested, she had opted to sleep separately on this occasion, a choice that seemed innocuous at the time. When questioned about leaving Maddie alone with Stefan, Jennifer's answers varied. At one moment, she insisted such an arrangement was rare. In another, she admitted that it wasn't uncommon, a contradiction that would raise red flags in the investigation. The inconsistencies in Jennifer's statements lingered like a shadow over the investigation, hinting at the complexities of their family life. Each detail, each moment, began to weave a tapestry that would ultimately lead to a chilling revelation. Jennifer Soto had always been vigilant when it came to her daughter, Madeline Soto, particularly around her boyfriend, Stefan Stearns. However, as the years passed, that vigilance began to wane. Over the course of their on and off relationship, spanning roughly 7 years, a bond had developed between Stefan and Maddie, one that made Jennifer's previous concerns feel distant. Stefan Stearns' account of his actions that fateful morning quickly became a pivotal focus in the investigation. The 38-year-old led authorities to a spot near the church, insisting he had left Madeline Soto there to continue on foot. But the question lingered. Was this truly the place? He gestured toward the surrounding communities, explaining their proximity to the church. The scene was familiar, framed by the nearby overpass, a landmark in the otherwise quiet neighborhood. Stefan pointed toward the overpass, indicating a location nearby. He suggested that while they might not be at the exact spot, perhaps it was the next intersection along the stretch. As they drove a short distance, Stefan's story seemed to align with the evidence presented. A camera was indeed located at the front of the Peace Church property, supporting his narrative. At the intersection of Tall Loop Boulevard and Hunters Park Lane, precisely where Stefan claimed to have halted, deputies accessed the church's surveillance footage. The grainy recording captured a juvenile entering the property from Tall Loop Boulevard around 8 o'clock a.m. The figure seen on the footage departed at 8:58, walking toward the school. Yet the quality of the video posed a significant issue. The image was too unclear to confirm the identity of the child, leaving doubt as to whether it was indeed Madeline. The indistinct recording failed to provide sufficient detail to match her clothing with what she was believed to have worn that morning. Additionally, the footage captured a vehicle, a dark sedan, pulling away from the scene, which raised further questions. It was not the silver Lincoln associated with Stefan. Traffic cameras had indeed captured Stefan's car in the vicinity of the school that morning. However, it did not reach the location he had claimed. As the vehicle approached the school, it took a sudden turn and began heading in the opposite direction, still traveling northbound. Despite being northbound on Junyong Parkway, deputies noted the car was seen heading southbound at 8:10, moving toward Kissimmee. Stefan attempted to explain the discrepancy, admitting, "I had forgotten something. I had forgotten my gate clicker." His tone was apologetic as he recounted how he had hurried back home after leaving, anxious to retrieve the device. "I actually had to go through the front gate and use my parking pass to get my clicker," he continued, justifying the timing issues with a sheepish confession. "I'm not a morning person, so I was just guessing at these times." The search for Madeline Soto escalated as the Orange County Sheriff's Department mobilized a substantial operation. Over 50 dedicated members of the emergency response team scoured hiking trails and dense woodlands near the school grounds, all in a desperate bid to find the missing girl. In response to Madeline's disappearance, the Orange County Sheriff's Department launched a comprehensive search operation. Over 50 members of the emergency response team diligently combed through hiking trails and the dense woodlands surrounding the school grounds, united in their quest to find the missing girl. Meanwhile, search dogs scoured the area, tracking Madeline's scent along various paths. All-terrain vehicles and horses traversed the rugged landscape, combing for any trace of the young girl. Investigators also managed to access Madeline's phone, revealing messages indicating she had shared her excitement about turning 13. On February 22nd, a chilling discovery was made on Madeline Soto's phone during the search for her. She had expressed a haunting desire to escape, to live in the woods. This revelation sent shockwaves through her family as they grappled with the unfolding nightmare. Jen and Stefan Stearns took to local news media, desperate to spread the word. In a bid to help locate her, Stefan drove Madeline to school that day. However, surveillance footage captured a peculiar moment. After dropping her off, he drove away as she lingered in the church parking lot, seemingly lost in thought. Moments later, she stood up and began her walk towards the school. It was approximately 9 o'clock a.m., and that was the last time anyone saw her. She never made it to her destination. The school was just a stone's throw away, and yet her absence raised an unsettling question. What happened during that short walk? Did she encounter danger, or was she taken? The truth remained shrouded in mystery. Jen sifted through Madeline's messages, searching for clues. In an exhaustive review, she even examined deleted texts. Nothing appeared out of the ordinary. It seemed her daughter had not been communicating with anyone, leading Jen to dismiss the idea that Madeline had run away. Something felt profoundly wrong. This was uncharacteristic behavior for Madeline, who never vanished without informing her family of her whereabouts. Overcome with fear and uncertainty, Jen reached out to the media, pleading for help to raise awareness. Desperation seeped into her words as she shared her anguish. She was a wreck, consumed by worry for her daughter. All she wanted was to ensure Madeline's safety, to bring her home unharmed. The only wish echoing in her heart was to have her daughter back, no matter the circumstances. She longed for Madeline's return, a sentiment echoed by Stefan as he recounted his version of events to the deputies. In an emotional moment, he recounted the last interaction they shared. He had dropped her off, believing everything was fine. That fateful moment in time was the last he would see of her. When detectives pressed him about their conversation in the car, Stefan recalled the mundane details. Madeline had mostly slept during the ride. He had wished her a good day at school and told her he loved her. Madeline's response was simple, a soft echo of affection. "Thanks. Love you too." As the weight of the situation bore down on him, detectives asked if he felt any blame. The answer was laden with guilt. Stefan's voice trembled as he expressed his regret. He had dropped her off too early, wishing he had waited longer. She appeared fine, walking towards the school, and it seemed like any other day. The haunting thought of what could have been lingered in his mind. Meanwhile, the sheriff's department meticulously tracked Stefan's movements that morning. Investigators pored over traffic cameras and security footage from buildings around Cassini. They noted an unusual turn he took away from the school at 8:00 a.m., raising suspicions about his route. Footage from security cameras revealed Stefan discarding items near the dumpsters of the apartment complex at 7:00 a.m., shortly after claiming to have dropped Madeline off. After this peculiar disposal, he drove to a vape shop, arriving only to find it closed. He then returned to the apartment complex for a brief time before setting out again, this time with the intent to revisit the vape shop. Stefan Stearns offered an explanation for the presence of his car in various locations across Orange and Osceola counties. However, the footage failed to capture his vehicle entering any restaurant or shop during the critical 2-hour window between noon and 2 p.m. At 38 years old, he claimed to have stopped to change a flat tire. He described being pulled over on US 192, a quiet stretch of road with minimal traffic. Yet, he could not pinpoint the exact location where he had halted to replace the tire. While surveillance cameras tracked his movements to this area, they could not establish the complete route he had taken. Consequently, a search warrant was executed at both his residence and Stefan's vehicle. During this process, deputies requested access to Stefan's cell phone. While awaiting the resolution of these inquiries, a deputy informed Stefan that his phone would be held for further examination. "I will return it once we're done," the deputy assured. "Do you have any questions for us?" "How long will you need my phone?" Stefan asked, anxiety creeping into his voice. "I'm not certain. I need to hear back from my supervisor. My dad is using it to contact me with updates," the deputy suggested. "They can reach out to Jen's phone." Reluctantly, Stefan consented to the examination of his device, which he claimed to have reset accidentally. However, forensic teams later discovered that on the day Madeline Soto vanished, he had performed a factory reset on his phone not once, but twice. Detectives focused their efforts on the trash retrieved from the apartment complex dumpster, tracing it to the facility where it had been emptied. The forensics unit of the Orange County Sheriff's Office uncovered an intact tire tread. The pattern corresponded precisely to the rear passenger tire of Stefan's vehicle. In close proximity to the tire tread, crime scene investigators discovered a white trash bag. This very bag had been observed in Stefan's possession as he discarded it into the apartment dumpster before taking his children to school around 7:30 a.m. Inside the trash bag, a black backpack emerged, adorned with a distinctive purple Hawaiian print, alongside a single white Croc. The matching shoe was later found in one of the bedrooms of the home, tucked away inside the backpack. The crime scene investigators also uncovered an Orange County Public Schools computer, clearly labeled with Madeline Soto's name. "Thank you for being here. We have significant developments in this case to share with the community," a spokesperson began. "I wish we were here to announce that we have found Madeline, but regrettably we have not. Last night, detectives from the Castleberry Police Department met with Madeline's mother to deliver the devastating news. Although Madeline has not yet been located, we now believe with confidence that she is deceased. Our focus will shift to recovering her. Detectives have concluded that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th. Instead, evidence suggests she was already dead at that time. Just after Stefan discarded the white trash bag into the compactor at 7:00 a.m., he returned to his vehicle. This camera footage remains unreleased. In the wake of the evidence gathered, the decision to keep certain details private became increasingly clear. Police reports indicated that a female, clad in a green hoodie, was visible in the front passenger seat of the Lincoln, her head unnaturally tilted onto her left shoulder. One police report described the young girl as slumped over in an abnormal manner for someone seated. At approximately 8:20 a.m., Stefan Stearns drove through the complex's gates, having a brief interaction with a security guard. Just over an hour later, after driving with his slumped-over passenger to various locations, Stefan's vehicle entered a parking garage at a Holiday Inn. There, he parked, and police noted the security footage captured crucial moments within the garage. Footage revealed the driver exiting the car and lifting what appeared to be a limp body from the front passenger seat, transferring her to the trunk. As the car exited the lot, Stefan's vehicle was recorded driving along Old Hickory Tree Road. Later that day, in the vicinity, he stopped to change a tire. By 4:40 p.m., he returned to the complex, where he discarded tire treads into a dumpster. During this same period, Jennifer Soto was at Hunter Creek School, desperately searching for her daughter, Madeline. Stephen Stearns was arrested and taken into custody, but not initially for murder. While that charge loomed heavily over the investigation, police had uncovered a multitude of other incriminating evidence that necessitated an immediate arrest. Detectives discovered a Google Drive linked to Stephen's phone, containing disturbing materials of a sexual nature that dated back over a 2-year period, spanning 2022 and 2023. Among the most troubling were over 17 images and videos depicting Madeline. A distinct physical feature of Stephen was identifiable in many of these images, erasing any doubt about his identity as the adult male featured. A comprehensive inventory of the contents was conducted. Stephen Stearns faced charges totaling 60 counts, including sexual battery and other offenses specifically related to his actions with a minor. Metadata from the files indicated that many of these charges pertained to a child under the age of 12. The nature of these crimes was particularly heinous and vile. Recent changes in Florida law indicated that if the dates on these files had varied by even a few months, he could have faced the death penalty upon conviction of the abuse charges. A law allowing for a potential death sentence for such crimes was signed into Florida law in December of 2023. As it stands, the 60 charges against him could still result in a life sentence if he were convicted on all or most counts. On Friday, March 1st, 2024, law enforcement received a tip that Stephen Stearns had been seen changing a flat tire in the area of Hickory Tree Road in St. Cloud. The witness confirmed his presence with his vehicle, further entangling him in the investigation. On the fateful afternoon of February 26th, at approximately 4:30 p.m., the last known camera captured a figure driving along a desolate stretch of road. It was here that the sheriff's department reached out to the landowner of a remote field, locked behind a gate, directly across from where the car had been spotted. Investigators ventured through the gate, meandering leftward toward a dense thicket of towering bamboo trees. It was there, amidst the shadows, that the captain's keen eye caught sight of something out of place. Blue jeans lying just a few feet into the mysterious grove. Beneath the shelter of the trees, they discovered a lifeless body. The upper half was obscured by a green hooded sweatshirt, while the lower half revealed blue jeans. What was more haunting was the deliberate covering with hay and dry grass, as if an attempt had been made to conceal the tragedy beneath nature's veil. The urgency of the situation prompted immediate action. Our units were dispatched to the scene to investigate what appeared to be a body. The clothing matched the description of what the victim had last been seen wearing, yet the authorities were cautious to confirm any identities at that moment. It wasn't until the medical examiners completed their analysis that the truth emerged. The body found concealed within the tree line was that of Madeline Soto. Due to the presumed nature of the crime, which bore the hallmarks of domestic violence, and the fact that she was a minor, the cause of death was withheld from public knowledge. Local news outlets began to speculate, drawing from whispers within the medical examiner's office that Madeline had succumbed to strangulation. This revelation ignited a flurry of questions, particularly surrounding what Jennifer Soto, her mother, knew about the events leading up to this heartbreaking discovery. As the investigation unfolded, inconsistencies in Jennifer Soto's account began to surface, casting shadows on her credibility. While it was essential to recognize that grief can cloud judgment, one deputy reported that Jennifer claimed to have last seen her daughter that morning. According to Jennifer's statement, she recalled seeing Madeline preparing for school at around 8 a.m. This sighting would seemingly clarify how she thought she knew what her daughter had worn that day, despite the stark contrast with the clothing Madeline was found in. However, in a later interview, Jennifer's narrative shifted dramatically. She now suggested that she might have only heard her daughter that morning, claiming she did not actually see Madeline on the day she vanished. In a subsequent interview, Jennifer Soto revealed that she might have heard her daughter that fateful morning. However, she now maintains that she did not, in fact, see Madeline on the day she vanished. Jennifer awoke around 7 or 8 in the morning, the sound of Stephen taking the dog for a walk echoing in her ears. Yet she did not hear Madeline in the house at all. When she left for an appointment at approximately 9:30 a.m., Stephen had not yet returned from dropping Maddie off at school. The Cassim Police Department concluded that Jennifer was not a suspect in the case. Detective Morris, who had taken the reins of the investigation upon discovering alarming material in Stephen's cloud account, confronted Jennifer with some of the images that raised concerns. The detective noted that when confronted with the unsettling images, Jennifer claimed she could not identify the individuals depicted. He observed that the contents of the photos were unmistakable, yet Jennifer insisted that she recognized none of it. The signs of denial were evident, yet Detective Morris noted a profound change in Jen's demeanor. During their conversation on February 27th, just 3 days before Madeline was discovered, the distraught mother spoke of her daughter in the past tense, as if already grappling with the loss. It was a chilling detail that pierced the investigative report. Stephen Stearns, the man accused, was indicted for first-degree murder in the death of Madeline Soto, and had since chosen to avoid court proceedings entirely. He had voiced his grievances regarding his living conditions at the county jail, lamenting, "I don't understand why they don't provide basic necessities. Why can't they at least give you a blanket?" The conditions were less than favorable. He recounted his first night spent on a cold, hard floor, using rolled-up toilet paper as a makeshift pillow. For nearly 2 days, he searched in vain for a blanket or any semblance of comfort. He believed the state had an obligation to provide basic accommodations. Meanwhile, the state of Florida had declared its intent to pursue the death penalty. Legal experts speculated that if Stephen were to push for a trial, it would likely be a desperate attempt to avoid death row. The evidence against him painted a grim picture, one that left little room for claims of innocence. In Florida, a jury's vote no longer required unanimity to impose capital punishment. A simple majority of 8-4 would suffice to seal his fate. Madeline Soto's absence was profoundly felt, with family and friends mourning her loss. Her closest friends at school wept as they shared heart-wrenching memories of Maddie with the police. They conveyed their deep sense of loss. What began as a community prayer for her safe return tragically transformed into a somber vigil on the night she was found. The heart-wrenching reality struck me deeply, bringing to mind my own daughter. In the wake of unspeakable tragedy, a parent's heart aches for their own children. Witnessing such devastation is nothing short of heartbreaking. Children are meant to be shielded from harm, yet in this case, that protection was tragically stripped away. This was the harrowing story of Madeline Soto, a young life extinguished far too soon. I extend my gratitude to all for joining me today, and a special acknowledgement to Ewell Scooby B and Santino Stevens for their support in the Members Lounge. I'm Kevin, and this is Just Thought Lounge. Until next time, stay vigilant. There's a lesson to be learned in every tale.